On page 5 of the hardcover edition of his book, God is Not Great, Hitchens says about himself and his fellow atheists, "We do not believe in heaven or hell, yet no statistic will ever find that without these blandishments and threats we commit more crimes of greed or violence than the faithful. In fact, if a proper statistical inquiry could ever be made, I am sure the evidence would be the other way." Well, Hitchens was dead wrong about that. Years ago, some researchers from Harvard University investigated the lives of young black men and found out, among other things, that the ones who went to church every Sunday had a much lower crime rate than the ones who did not, and were less likely to use drugs too. You can read about this in an article by Richard B. Freeman in the July 20th, 1986 New York Times. Furthermore, the four greatest mass murderers of the 20th century, Hitler, Stalin, Mao, and Pol Pot, were all atheists. Is that really just a coincidence? I don't think so. I think it means that atheism gives many people the feeling that it is okay to give free rein to their worst impulses. Even the militant atheists admit that Stalin, Mao, and Pol Pot were atheists. There's no dispute about that. Now, I know Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens have claimed that Hitler was a Catholic, but that is a barefaced lie. A historian named Ian Kershaw, whose last name is spelled Kershaw, in case you want to look up his books in your local library, wrote a massive critically acclaimed 2-volume biography of Hitler just a few years ago. He says nothing about Hitler being involved in any kind of religious group in his adult life. You can also look at a book called The Years of Extermination, Nazi Germany and the Jews, 1939 to 1945, written by a man named Saul Friedlander, who was a history professor at UCLA, and who was considered one of the world's leading experts on the Holocaust. On page 203 of that book, Friedlander says there is no doubt that Hitler hated Christianity. He openly said so. You can also go to Wikipedia and look up Pope Pius XI, and you will see that Pius XI issued a pastoral letter in 1937 called Mit brennender Sorge, in which he complained about Hitler's persecution of the Catholic Church and denounced Nazi ideology. Did Hitler mend his ways after Pius XI denounced him that way? Of course not, because Hitler was not a Catholic and he did not care what the Pope thought. Dawkins and Hitchens are simply lying when they say otherwise. And look at the fact that Hitler had 2,762 clergymen and nuns arrested and imprisoned in the Dachau concentration camp. A third of them died there. You can read about this in an article written by the famous historian Istvan Diak in the November 5, 2001 issue of New Republic magazine. Why did Hitler do that if he was a Christian? The answer is obvious. Hitler was not a Christian of any kind.